The Silk Road, the rise and fall of the world's largest online black market. Hey, my name is Wes Spencer. I'm a faculty member in the Telecommunications Systems Management program at Murray State University. I love Bitcoin. I study and teach in cybercrime and information security. Imagine with me a place where anyone on the black market can buy and sell products and services over the internet. That place was the Silk Road, and it was a sprawling black market bazaar with the goal to create an online criminal marketplace outside the reach of law enforcement or government regulation. Within just a few short months, the Silk Road had become the most sophisticated and extensive criminal marketplace on the internet today. In that short time, at the very height of its operation, there were thousands of drug dealers and other vendors. They were distributing hundreds of kilos of drugs and other goods, hundreds of thousands of buyers, and they were all laundering millions of dollars. So what was for sale? First, there were illegal drugs of every size and variety. But there were also criminal services. There were black market contact lists for anonymous bank accounts, counterfeit bills, firearms and ammunition, stolen credit cards, and most scary of all, hitmen. Hackers were offering full access to Facebook and Twitter and other social networks. There were digital goods available, everything from pirated software and media to hacked accounts for Netflix and Amazon and hack tools. There were also forgeries, fake licenses, passports, socials, utility bills, credit card statements. The way that the Silk Road hid its users and protected them was by using the Onion router, or Tor for short. The way that Tor works is it conceals its IP addresses of all computers joined into the network. The FBI affidavit records that Tor is practically impossible to physically locate the computers hosting or accessing websites on the network. All payments and transactions were done in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is an electronic currency designed to be as anonymous as cash. The Silk Road also used a Tumblr service to frustrate tracking of Bitcoin transactions through the blockchain. What this did was obfuscate all transactions, making it difficult for anyone to track a user and a vendor selling and trading based upon Bitcoin transactions themselves. So how much money was involved in this? First off, sales revenue was over 9.5 million Bitcoin, and commissions for the owner of the site, 600,000 Bitcoins. As of July 23, 2013, approximately 957,079 registered user accounts, although not all of these represent individual users. There was over $1.2 billion in revenue, and approximately 1,367 transactions per day at an average of $976. So how did such a sophisticated black market get shut down? Well, here's the story. The FBI has located some of the Silk Road servers. Some information was found in the United States. Some information was also found in other unspecified foreign countries. The FBI has also located in a certain foreign country the server that was used to host Silk Road's website. On July 23, 2013, the FBI obtained access to an image of the Silk Road server. From that image, here's what we know. In 2011, the Silk Road was created. In January of 2011, a user named Altoid posts on a forum on shroomery.org about Silk Road. He asks if anyone has ever heard of it and that he's thinking of buying off it and wants to know if anyone can recommend it. He also, interestingly, gives the address in order to get to this Silk Road. Just 3 days later, a user named Altoid also posts on the Bitcoin Talk forum, and he asks essentially the same question, if anyone has ever heard of the Silk Road and that he's thinking of buying off it, and he also provides the address. The site continues to grow, and then in June of 2011, the site's forum was updated by the administrator, and he sent this message to all users. Who is Silk Road? Some call me SR admin, or just Silk Road. But isn't that confusing? I am Silk Road, the market, the person, the enterprise, everything. But Silk Road has matured, and I need an identity separate from the site and the enterprise of which I am now only a part. I need a name. Then, in February of 2012, he apparently comes to his conclusion. On the 5th, he writes, drumroll please, "My new name is Dread Pirate Roberts." From this time up until September of 2013, the Silk Road grows in popularity until the FBI discovered its location and the identity of Dread Pirate Roberts and is systematically shut down. However, in the middle of all this, the story gets much darker. The FBI affidavit records a conversation between DPR, or Dread Pirate Roberts, and Friendly Chemist. On March 13, 2013, a vendor on Silk Road, Friendly Chemist, threatens DPR with information he'll release to the public unless DPR pays him $500,000. DPR writes back to Friendly Chemist, and I quote, "What do you think will happen if thousands of usernames, order amounts, addresses get leaked? All those people will leave Silk Road and be scared to use it again. Those vendors will all be busted, and their customers will be exposed to and never go back to Silk Road." Then on March 15, 2013, Friendly Chemist provides DPR a sample and proof of the information he was going to leak for authenticity purposes. DPR takes him seriously, and he writes back, "Have your suppliers contact me here so I can work something out with them." On March 20th, 2013, a user named Red and White contacts DPR, and he says, "I was asked to contact you. We are the people Friendly Chemist owes money to. What did you want to talk to us about?" Obviously, you have access to illicit substances in quantity and are having issues with bad distributors. If you don't already sell here on Silk Road, I'd like you to consider becoming a vendor. The same day, Red and White responds, "If you can get Friendly Chemist to meet up with us or pay his debt, then I'm sure I would be able to get the people in our group to give this online side of the business a try." On March 27th of 2013, DPR responds, "In my eyes, Friendly Chemist is a liability, and I wouldn't mind if he were executed. I'm not sure how much you already know about him, but I have the following information. Let me know if it would be helpful to have his full address." Then, on March 29th of 2013, just 9 days later, Friendly Chemist apparently gets impatient, and he says, "You leave me no choice. I want $500,000 US within 72 hours, or I'm going to post all the info I have. I hate to do this, but I need the money, or I'm going to release it all. Over 5,000 user details and about 24 vendor identities. What's it going to be?" Just hours later, DPR writes back to Red and White, "Friendly Chemist is causing me problems. I'd like to put a bounty on his head if it's not too much trouble for you. What would be an adequate amount to motivate you to find him? Things like this do happen from time to time." And then he goes on to talk about anonymity being the most important part of the Silk Road. And hours later, Red and White responds, $150,000 to $300,000, depending on how you want it done. On March 31st of 2013, DPR replies back to Red and White, and he says, "I don't want to be a pain here, but the prices seem a little bit high. Not long ago I had a clean hit done for $80,000. Are the prices you quoted the best you can do? I'd like this done ASAP, as he's talking about releasing the information on Monday." So DPR and Red and White agree on 1,670 Bitcoin. That approximately comes to $150,000 US. At this point, the transaction is made from DPR to Red and White. Once Red and White receives the money, he replies and says, "I've received the payment. We know where he is, and he'll be grabbed tonight. I'll update you." On April 1st of 2013, Red and White says, "Your problem has been taken care of. Rest easy, though, because he won't be blackmailing anyone again. Ever." In the middle of this, DPR asks for proof. When he's given a picture, he replies back and says, "I received the picture and deleted it. Thank you for your swift action." Now the plot thickens. Canadian authorities have absolutely no record of the name that DPR gave to Red and White. Also, there's no record of a homicide occurring in White Rock, British Columbia on or about March 31st of 2013. Did Red and White actually carry out an execution? There's no proof. So how did DPR get caught? First of all, remember in January of 2011, he made 2 forum posts as Altoid. The first one comes across asking if anyone has ever heard of the Silk Road and wanting to buy off it. But here's the thing, this was the only post by that username Altoid. Probably it was to promote the site itself on Shroomerie's forums. Also, don't forget that Altoid posted again 3 days later on Bitcoin Talk, and he essentially asked the exact same question. Now the FBI has a lead. Both postings end with the quote, "Let me know what you think." But then, investigators get a major lead. That same user Altoid posts on the Bitcoin Talk forum looking for someone to help him. He says that he needs the best and brightest IT pro in the Bitcoin community to help in a venture-backed Bitcoin startup company. But he leaves his personal email address, rossulbricht@gmail.com. Is it possible that DPR, the owner of the Silk Road, is actually Ross Ulbricht? The FBI begin to investigate. First of all, DPR's posts in the message board on the Silk Road forums had links to Ludwig von Mises, an Austrian economist's YouTube videos. Ross Ulbricht's own Google Plus account had links to the exact same site. At this point, the FBI began to investigate and look at everything that Ross Ulbricht is doing. The FBI have records of a user accessing the Silk Road server from an internet cafe here in San Francisco. Also, interestingly enough, records show from a Google subpoena that Ulbricht regularly logged into his own Google account less than 500 feet away from this internet cafe. So in July of 2013, Customs and Border Protection intercepts a package from the mail. It was inbound from Canada as part of a routine search. This package had 9 identifications in it. All of them were counterfeit. All of them had Ross Ulbricht's picture on them, and all had different names. When questioned by Homeland Security, Ulbricht apparently said, hypothetically, anyone could have purchased these documents on a website called the Silk Road. At this point, police now have evidence that he knew at least at a minimum about the Silk Road. On March 5th of 2012, a user created an account on stackoverflow.com, a programming forum, and he used a username of Ross Ulbricht. He posted this message, asking if anyone could help him connect a Tor hidden service using curl and PHP. Hours later, he realized his mistake in using Ross Ulbricht as his username, and he changed it. He changes it to Frosty. Several weeks later, Frosty also changed his email on Stack Overflow to frosty@frosty.com. When the FBI began to analyze forensic data from the Silk Road server, they found SSH public keys that had the substring frosty@frosty.com. At this point, the FBI decide they have enough information, and on Tuesday, October 1st of 2013, federal agents arrest Ulbricht in the science fiction section of this public library. He is charged with engaging in a money laundering and narcotics trafficking conspiracy, and also computer hacking. At this time, the Silk Road itself was subsequently shut down, and the FBI seized Bitcoin worth 3.5 to 4 million US dollars. So the real question is, what's next? Did the Silk Road shutdown end the era of anonymous online black markets, or did it serve as a catalyst for explosive new growth? Heisenberg 2.0, the architect of the Atlantis drug trading platform, had this to say, and this is what law enforcement is now parading as a victory? Over 2 years of investigation, millions of dollars spent, and for what? So a couple of armchair programmers can build it again in a few days, while in the meantime vendors simply move to other sites? 5 other Silk Road competitors are already in the works. Sherlock Holmes once said, what one man can invent, another man can discover. And so the hunt continues.